You guys want to go plant some beans?
Let's do it.
For some reason or another, Matt has trusted me with his camera, so I'm going to vlog on my way to the farm. He's going to drive separately, just in case he needs to run in an emergency and use the bathroom. Happens to the best of us. Beep boop bop. Loading. I'll be nice and let the old 8R370 warm up a little bit before we hit the pavement. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa! It's actually not sunny at all. Wish it'd come out so the ground would actually dry. Statistically speaking, 100% of the time when Matt shows up, it's cloudy and overcast. The numbers are not looking good for his visiting. I've yet to hit a mailbox with the DB60, which is something I'm definitely proud of. There's no time like the present though, so anything can happen. I'm headed back north of Mattoon where I got rained out a couple days ago. I had 30 acres left in one farm and then another 90 right next door to plant. You're never quick enough to beat some of these rains, no matter how many extra gears you grab in a quest to go fast. The real reason Matt's here today is not to look at all of our cool, fancy John Deere equipment. No, he's here to steal my secrets of the trade for being a fantastic farm vlogger. There's definitely some art to it. In my opinion, the trick to a good farm vlog is to tell a story about your day. There needs to be a plot. Today, we're trying to plant these fields, spray these fields, do this kind of tillage, apply this kind of fertilizer. And you need to adequately display to the world the trials and tribulations as well as the successes of that venture. Now would be the perfect time because we have a long trip to throw the GoPro on the back of the planter and do a neat little time lapse to show people the expansiveness of what we're doing here. Some farms aren't all next door. Some of them are 20 miles away from home. Others are 40s depending on how far you like to drive to farm. You get the point. Either way, that's the fun part about all the farm vloggers on YouTube. Not only are they farming in different regions of the United States and the world, they also have different tastes and styles to how they show their farms. Some people are funny, some people are informative, and some people are just great at everything. Boo! Red tractor! I'm just kidding, everyone. Every piece of equipment, color, size, shape, they're all perfectly fine if they fit your operation. The red ones just break down more. Nope, there I go again. Take that back. Almost to the field. Matt drove separately, so he should be stowed away here like a princess waiting on their knight in shining armor, which is me.
I'm no princess. Talk about.
Look at that mud.
Okay, we're all locked in. We got 36 rows, a 60-foot bar. Let's go plant some beans. Oh, you got your camera. I was worried you left it behind.
No, but I used your camera exclusively on the way here. It's taken over. Okay, so I got rained out here a couple of days ago. I've planted 190 acres. I think it's about 225. I'm gonna go ahead and fire everything back up. This DB60 has 3 vacuums. It is electric motors, so it has an EPG system, electric power generation system. You'll see the vacuums fire up. For good measure, I'll put it down and let the blower turn on. Really, the only thing you actually need to do after the vacuums have been off, if you know there's seed in the units, is just reprime everything. Only took me 2 weeks of running it, but I figured out how to do everything in a time-efficient manner. So just hit this meter fill button. 1 click, it should be filled. I usually do 2 for good measure. I'm sure there's beans spitting out the back now. So we're ready to rock and roll already. Since I've already planted this field, I've got inrows on it. Everything but 30 or 40 acres, depending on how it turns out. It's our first time farming it, so I'm not sure the actual true acreage. The owner claimed it was 214, but it sprayed the other day like 225. That does present some difficulties because I have enough seed for about 218 acres. My sister Katie's running the seed tender for me today. She'll be here at some point. She's got another 10 or 15 bags in the back of the pickup of these Beck's 33, 37 Extend Flex beans. So we picked this farm up relatively close to planting season, and the issue with that is I don't actually have a good auto steer line for it. I didn't have time to come around and map it. So I've just been steering with a line I drew on my own. I need to refresh my memory on what I've actually done out here. One of these pages will do it quickly. There we go. And I did this last couple of rounds impressively fast because there was a rain coming across from the west and I was scooting. Not proud of it, but I thought there was a chance I'd beat the rain. Looks like it wasn't that big of a deal because it didn't even, they were calling for 2 inches of rain, so I was like, oh, I got to get these in the ground. And then it only rained 3/4 of an inch. It's like, okay, well, I can come back in 4 days and plant some more.
Is that where all the mud comes from?
Yeah, all the dry mud is not because I intentionally plant in the mud. I just stayed in this field for about 5 minutes longer than I should have. I saw the rain, I didn't want to quit, and the next thing you know, there was violently large raindrops on the window. I knew I was screwed. I made my way to the exit, but it was too late. On another note, I actually cleaned all my windows. They were very filthy, but I thought, I got a guest here, why not clean them for the first time this season?
Usually they're a lot dirtier than this.
Well, not us. We clean everything 2 times a day.
Really?
Yep. We just back them into the wash bay. We actually leave the field if it's on the time span, and we'll just go clean everything. Don't look at don't look at the, don't look at the hood.
Like
That's
that.
not sarcasm. Good beep on. It's planting. Probably a little soft after the rain. I don't think I need 300 pounds of downforce. We'll back it down to 220 maybe. I've had a few row units consistently underperforming. I don't know why. I think it's probably more of a sensing issue than a legitimate underpopulating issue. Even if I go 5 miles an hour, they do not put out what I'm asking of them. I'd like to think there's nothing wrong with them, but it's kind of tough to actually verify what that is. And there's my dad calling you.
You really need to make the buddy seat an active seat.
Yeah, it's definitely not designed.
Ride.
Yeah, definitely not designed with the passenger in mind. I'm in the seat that feels like I'm operating a Lamborghini right now. Matt's in like a fold-out chair that you put the extra people at church in.
Maybe it's meant for like 3-year-olds, but not grown men.
Yeah, definitely not. John Deere is the only person to blame for all these older farmers not retiring. When they make cabs as luxurious as this, with massaging seats, heated seats, it's no wonder they never quit. They'll probably want to be buried in one of these ultimate cab seats.
I think I want one for like my office chair at my house.
It'd be pretty nice. I don't know if you know it, John Deere corporate in the Quad Cities, at one point in time they used to have the old cloth seats. Everyone worked in one of those cloth seats.
Oh, really?
It wasn't the actual seat, but they used the same material. I don't know if you remember like a 7800, 8300, those like seats they had.
Oh yeah.
All of the seats at the John Deere corporate headquarters were that same material. Yeah, they weren't sitting in a Herman Miller by any means. They were just in the same seats their farmer was in. I don't know if that was to give them perspective or what, but it's kind of neat.
So we just need these at the dealership now.
Happy with the old DB60? Making the upgrade there?
I've been able to cover a lot more ground. I'm really happy about the individual hydraulic downforce. Makes me much more confident, especially if I'm going faster planting. Keeping those beans in the ground is just as important as having accurate metering. Obviously, the electric meters allow a little bit of improvement over the hydraulic drives we're coming from, but at the end of the day, I think the individual row hydraulic downforce is really the big upgrade. The wider planter helps with average productivity, and overall it's been nice. Definitely a little bit of learning. The unfolding's different than your regular 2-point planter. Some things we're keeping an eye on the frame because it's just built different, it's heavy. This tractor works pretty hard to pull it. It's been good though, I like it.
Yeah, there's your DB60 review.
Yep, is the check gonna be in the mail for the advertising or?
Not from us, John Deere Corporate. We'll work on that.
What do you say, Matt? We hop out and see how this looks.
All right, let's see it.
So we worked this ahead of the rain. I got 190 out of 225-ish acres planted. Really not too concerned about the settings being much different because ground conditions haven't really changed. Looking for our soybeans to be anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches in the ground, as long as they're in moisture. You don't really have to go far right now to find moisture because of that rain. A lot of it came up overnight. And of course, I'm having a hard time finding beans. They're hiding from the camera.
They know we're looking.
Where are they? There's one.
There we go.
So that's every bit of 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 in the ground. I'm happy with that. This ground could be a little drier. Yesterday afternoon, the sun was out, it dried a lot more. Today, the sun's kind of hiding from us, which is not ideal, though ground conditions are adequate for planting, especially soybeans. They're not as picky as corn. It's like my fidget spinner. It's all fun and games till it hits you in the
The
teeth.
farmer fidget spinner right there.
Okay, here's the one issue I have with the new 8R tractors and the EPG system, and I've yet to master this. If you get out of the seat, the PTO shuts off unless you turn on the PTO remote. So I got out, and if I didn't know this, I would have started planting, and the planner would have said, oh, it's not planting, you know? Then I'd be like, oh crap, my generator turned off because my PTO turned off, so I have to turn that back on. The only good thing is the vacuums don't shut off, so the units maintain their prime. Basically, I just have to make sure everything's on before I start going. I've planted a decent amount of ways without noticing that in the last couple of weeks, so it's frustrated me a few times, but probably just as much on me as it is on the planner to keep that in mind.
Hey, I mean, if that's your only complaint, then that's pretty good.
Well, don't even get me started on the price.
Oh, okay, fine. But the resale value of everything else is high.
That's true.
So you get a lot for your trade.
Yeah, our trade-in planner was worth quite a bit. It wasn't worth exactly what it probably cost initially, but it did go, I'm not going to say a long ways towards trading to this DB60 because this thing was fairly expensive. It did bridge the gap a little bit. I mean, you get what you pay for at the end of the day, and it's hard to beat the John Deere line of equipment. It's pretty reliable. Obviously, you get your odd issues here and there, and really the service is untouchable compared to other brands. I mean, the John Deere dealership support from every different dealership around here is phenomenal. Matt hopped out of the cab. He's going to fly his fancy drone. I'm going to talk agronomics with you all real quick. Targeting 140,000 originally out here on this farm. I'd mentioned that we're probably going to come up a little short on seed because the acreage isn't matching what we were expecting. The landowner is very active in management of this farm. He wanted us to try lower populations. There's a lot of people out there who think we're planting beans too thick. They think as long as you can get 80,000 out there in a good stand, you're probably good to go. So we're targeting 125,000 beans per acre for this last 25, 30, 40 acres, depending on how much it chalks up to. It's going to be an interesting test compared to the 140,000 on the rest of the farm. And it's just a good opportunity. It's late April. I'm not that worried about emergence, though I did slow down to 8 miles an hour, which is slower than I'd normally plant with this planter, trying to get decent spacing compared to the spill I get probably at 9 or 10 mile an hour. On a majority of our own acres, we target 160,000 because we like room for error and the additional weed control that comes from higher plant populations. We deal with a lot of water hip. It's very pesky and competitive weed. You really need everything in your favor to help combat this. These beans are Extend Flex, so we do have the option to apply Extendamax or Dicamba or Liberty, also known as glufosinate. Planning on doing Liberty out here because Dicamba is a little more troublesome to apply. You also have to have special licensing in addition to your regular herbicide license to apply chemicals. Dicamba is notorious for picking up in the middle of the day and volatilizing off into the neighbor's sensitive crops, as well as drifting. Very little of it can cause a lot of damage, at least visibly, not always in terms of yield. So we're sticking with the safe bet that is Liberty. It is effective so long as you apply it when it's warm outside. Liberty is a contact herbicide, unlike Dicamba, which is a systemic herbicide. As long as you get a little Dicamba on the plant, it will translocate throughout. Liberty is only going to hurt the areas that it touches. We'll talk about that more in a future video. If you're on Prairie State, my YouTube is Trippy Farmer. Some of you seen me before, very active on there. Post regularly during planting season. I'm not always perfect. I do try my best though to explain some of the nitty-gritty details behind the decision making we do on our own farm here in Central Illinois. We are 208 acres into the field that I projected at 215, that sprayed like 225, and I just got low seed warnings even with the reduced population. So it looks like we're gonna be headed up to the seed tender. Katie's here waiting, but we got some bags to throw in. The real question is how many bags do you throw in without putting extra in? Because we're switching to a different bean after this field. Okay, since I got the low seed warning, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill up the tanks a little bit. I'm estimating probably another 12 to 13 acres at least. So probably put every bit of 10 bags in. They're slippery.
So we got Pioneer and Bex?
Pioneer will be on the next.
Okay.
Pioneer's on the 90 next to this. The Bex is for the 200 acres we've been working on.
I got you.
The problem with you filming me right now, Matt, is that people think I don't work. They hate to see that I actually do.
Oh, hey, careful now. You got some strings hanging off. Might trip.
That's the worst part about these bags, all the strings on them.
Wait, is that where your name came from? You tripped over something?
That'd be a pretty good reason.
I think that's the origin
You're
story.
gonna jinx me. Same time.
It's the Trippy string.
Yeah.
You saved the day.
How many more's in the truck? I don't want to have too many. 6 of those?
Yeah, how many more acres you got left?
Somewhere
In this
between
field.
10 and 20, I'm not sure.
Somewhere between. Guesstimate.
Double time.
Look at him working so hard here.
Don't throw out your shoulder. That hurts.
Okay, call an ambulance.
This whole tender you're not using.
Well, I had enough beans for the acreage we thought this farm was. It's more than it was proposed as. I think it might have something to do with the roll of it or something, gained some few acres from slope and geography. So all we had left are these loose bags. I know the tender's easier, but your math isn't always as solid as you think it is.
Bye, Trippy string.
Sorry.
Stroking
There's not enough room
That's
here
the
for
back
all-
to the buddy seat needs
Yep.
to be improved.
Yep. Well, you can move my rat poison container if it's blocking your view.
That's good. I got the foot bag here.
Speaking of disturbing, so John Deere Corporate,
Where are we going with this?
John Deere Corporate, I think it was corporate, is buying / leasing an old factory north of Mattoon. And Ron from
Saw that.
Hartung Family Farms, it's for parts. Ron from Hartung Family Farms sent me an article he read from the Quad Cities. I think it was Ron. He's a great guy. Check out his channel. He does run Red Equipment, boom. But he sent me an
Thank you,
article, and they referred to Mattoon as Southern Illinois, and I about threw up.
I think it is kind of southern.
This is not Southern Illinois.
It's South Central. That's how I referred to it earlier.
Well, yeah, I said South Central too, but that gives me the decency of at least being Central.
I think some might consider it Southern Illinois.
It's close. I'm not gonna argue it's close, but
Just
at
like
least
I consider,
give us the
like-
benefit of the doubt, you know?
I consider like north of Peoria kind of northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Or Interstate 80 where I'm at.
Yeah, but a lot of it's the same. You get from Mattoon to north of Peoria up there, you still got good farm ground. That's what matters to me. You say Southern Illinois, I mean, we've got better dirt than the Southerners.
Oh,
No
so
offense.
it's that angle you don't like.
Yeah. Don't group us in with them.
That good black dirt.
I'm just teasing. Like I said earlier, the Southerners, as long as they get rain, they can grow just as good, if not better, crops than Central and North Central Illinois. They've got the warm climate on their side, so they've definitely come a long way.
Advantages, disadvantages. Yeah.
Yep. See that swath control working right there?
There we go.
Yep. You can see the
Beautiful.
population. So the red, I'm planting a little bit low of a population here on the rest of this just to try out. I talked about it earlier on your camera, Matt, so you'll edit that in. But these are the earlier passes I made before I got rained out, 140,000. The red's just low because it's not tuned to properly view the 125,000 plants per acre I'm targeting. It's looking more at the original 140,000 an acre, which gives you this nice colorful rainbow. I think each row actually outputs its performance. You can see some variation over here. This is just a solid red. The legend needs adjusted. Project for a different
Nice
day though.
visual.
Yep.
Starting to rain a little bit, huh?
Yeah, you're real bad luck. 100% of the time you show up, it's cloudy and it rains. The math is not on your side today.
I don't think it'll be a downpour. Sprinkles.
It's always nice to be greeted in the morning.
It's very kind. Hey, don't forget to shut off the Wi-Fi.
Yep. Well, it's this switch right here that connects to the remote, and if you leave it on, it'll drain the battery. We've learned that the hard way. Just hit it at full speed right out of the gate.
So nice, brother, sister working together.
Yep.
Not fighting yet.
The real nice thing is that it's raining right now, so our beans are going to be going into the ground pre-germinated. It's like a starter. We got some water already on them. Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, you can't.
Agronomy advice from Andy. There you go, folks. The nice thing about this DB60 and the newer models of John Deere planters, they have the bigger seed tanks. They're also designed to hold the seed a little better without having to shovel it around as much. I think it can hold 65 units on both sides, but don't quote me on that. The original ones were 45 or 50.
I'm gonna quote you on that. I gotta act like I'm working hard, you know?
Feel obligated?
Stand there and watch you guys work.
That's what I do all the time.
Thanks for watching, guys. And to follow Trippy Farmer, go check him out on YouTube. It's a Trippy Farmer, right?
That's correct. YouTube,
The A is important.
Yep. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook a little bit. Majority of my content is on YouTube, though I do occasionally update people on Instagram. Appreciate you all tuning in, and Matt coming down south here to see what the rest of it's like for us.
In Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois, South Central Illinois.
I won't ever say that again.
Okay. I don't actually get offended. It's just a good humor joke. All right.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate it, Matt.
Thanks for watching,
See you
guys,
guys.
and we'll see you next time.